So today, I can announce that the Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy Select Committee are launching an inquiry into the delivery of a new landscape for audit. In the new year, once the CMA and Kingman reviews have been published, we will begin a series of hearings in public exploring reactions to those reviews and some of the wider questions that I have set out today. We will hear from the Big Four, from challenger firms, audit committee chairs, investors, regulators and experts in this field. And we will give a strong parliamentary input into the debate before the CMA reaches its final verdict on competition in the market. I know that you will all engage constructively in this work because it is in your interests as well as ours. Business and the public alike will benefit from successful reform, from enhanced trust, more financially stable businesses, more secure jobs. The UK can and should play a leading role in setting the agenda for audit reform. Change is coming, and no doubt it won't be comfortable for everyone here in this hall today. But it will be far more comfortable to embrace it for the wider public benefit than to resist it for reasons of narrow self-interest. I hope that it is this shared understanding that we can move forward to deliver for everyone. I look forward to being part of that debate and finding the right way forward.
So I think there's a real public appetite for a debate about the future of audit, improving audit quality, competition and reducing conflicts of interest. And the advantage of a parliamentary select committee inquiry is that the evidence is heard in public and those issues and the answers from those who are going to potentially benefit most and least from reforms in the sector will have to, in public and under scrutiny, answer questions and face challenge. So I think that is the role and the advantage of a select committee inquiry. Of course, my select committee recommended that the Competition and Markets Authority reviewed competition in the audit market and reform at the regulator, for example. So we very much welcome the official reviews by the regulators and looking at the regulators that's happening at the moment. But I think there's some added value that can be provided by taking that evidence in public. Well, I listed and suggested a number this morning, but the purpose of those reviews, whether that's the select committee review or others, is to put forward those proposals and then to challenge them. And so I'm going in with an open mind as to what the actual reforms that are needed. But I think what nobody doubts now is that reform is needed after the audit failures in a number of high-profile cases, but also because of the lack of competition in the audit sector, where the Big Four accountancy firms dominate, vastly dominate other players in the field. So 97% of FTSE 350 businesses are audited by one of the Big Four. That's not a healthy market. So reform is needed. What that exact reform looks like, whether it is putting caps on market shares, dual audits, breaking up the companies, separating audit and non-audit work, there's a number of issues on the table. It's up to the select committee and others to scrutinise, to challenge and look at the benefits, but also the potential costs of any of those particular reforms. I think that definitely should be on the table as part of this review. That would get rid of the conflicts of interests, for example, but it might not necessarily improve audit quality. Some have said that you need those non-audit skills within the auditors to provide a comprehensive audit. So we'll be exploring those issues as part of our select committee inquiry, but absolutely splitting up audit and non-audit work should be one of the issues and will be one of the issues that we're going to look at. Well, the FRC, I think, have been too close to the industry that they're supposed to regulate, in some ways co-opted by the industry when they should be there to provide independent challenge. In some ways, it's a little bit like the relationship between the auditors and those that they're supposed to audit. There's not enough challenge there and too close and cosy a relationship, and that needs to change. Auditors need to know that as a regulator, sometimes on their back, making sure that audits are of high enough quality. The FRC hasn't to date provided that function. It must do in the future if we're to restore trust in the industry. Well, most economists would tell you that effective competition leads to higher standards and lower prices, and I don't see why audit should be different in that respect. But we also know, for example, through the challenges that we're seeing at the moment at Patisserie Valerie, that was audited by one of the non-Big Four, that just giving work to a smaller company isn't going to necessarily improve quality. So we need to look at these issues in the round. But I would say that a healthy market needs more than 4 companies picking up pretty much all of the business. Well, if the audit quality today was of such a high standard that we didn't need to look beyond the Big Four, that would be fine. But the audits that we're getting today from the Big Four are not of a high enough standard, so I think we do need more challenge in the market. If audits were all being done to the highest standard and there was no problem, then I think it would be fair to say, why do we need to look at challenger firms coming in? But audits are not of a high enough standard today. There is this argument that you've just made that some of the smaller auditors wouldn't be able to handle a global company. But 80% of all listed firms are audited by one of the Big Four. 97% of the FTSE 350 businesses, the majority of those businesses are not global multinationals operating in multi-jurisdictions. A lot of those businesses would be easy enough for one of the non-Big Four to audit, and in that space we certainly need more competition. I don't think that the audit profession should, or now are, just saying it's not our fault, it's the public expectations that's the problem, not our audits. I think there now is an increasing recognition that audit is not doing the job that it's supposed to be doing, and it's in audit where there's a problem, not in the public expectation. But I think we do need to look again at the role of an audit, whether it is a backward-looking exercise or a forward-looking exercise, for example. So the purpose of audit is very much part of our inquiry, but just to blame the public for having too high an expectation of audit, I don't think that is the right approach. Well, if we want to continue to be respected around the world for our corporate governance, we need to get our house in order, and that means improving the checks and balances in the system, the role of the executives, the non-executive directors, the role of shareholders in challenging companies, the role of audit in providing that safe pair of eyes on the company accounts. All of those things are what makes Britain a global leader in corporate governance, but too often recently those checks and balances and that leadership has been found wanting. We need to put that right if we're going to continue to be a leader on the world stage in these areas.